You're listening to Black Like Me with Dr. Alex G., a podcast that invites you to experience the world through the perspective of one black man, one conversation, one story, or even one rant at a time. Here's Dr. G.
Hi, this is Dr. Alex G. For the past several months, my team and I have been working on a special podcast series entitled My Genealogy. I have recently found white relatives who are descendants of my family's slave owner. And this is very powerful and very meaningful. And we'll be dropping it at the end of this month. If you are in the Madison area or South Central Wisconsin, I would love for you to celebrate with me because I'm throwing a series release party Monday, January 28th at 633 West Badger Road. That's the Fountain of Life Church. If you go to Facebook and search for me at Dr. Rev Alex G, you'll find the link to the event. It's a free event, but we need to know you're coming. So please register and tell your friends who may be in the area. Before I really get into the heart of my show today, I just want to process a couple of things that's on my heart. One is I'm tired of people contaminating and playing around with things that we consume. All the recalls on beef and meat and chicken is just crazy. Okay, that stuff had me thinking about becoming a vegetarian or vegan. For about 5 minutes. I'm gonna have to call up my friend Miss Dyson out in the Bay Area and just talk me into becoming a vegan. She's been one of my guests on the show recently. Romaine lettuce has been recalled. I mean, you actually go through drive-thrus and people say, hey, I'm sorry, we can't serve salads with romaine lettuce because of the recall. But this morning I was at my barbershop and I heard that amlodipine, which is a hypertension medicine, is being recalled. Now, I hate to admit this is probably TMI, but I'm on amlodipine. It's hard to be a black man in America in your mid-50s and not have hypertension. But my blood pressure went up sitting in the barbershop. Usually that's where I go just to relax for a few minutes. I've got a real good barber, so I could usually catch like a 10-minute nap. And then I'm watching Good Morning America, and they're talking about hypertension medicine somehow having contaminants in it, which is crazy because normally when I'm feeling like my pressure is up, I'm sounding like my grandmother now, my pressure is up, I go take my amlodipine. Well, I can't take it because they think it might be tainted. So I just need to say, whoever's out there, stop messing with people's food, leave our lettuce alone, and leave our medicine alone. It's hard enough out here for black people. Now we can't even reach for hypertension medicine. That's usually what we can go to when everybody else is getting on our nerves, when our children are going crazy, when white people are bugging us, when the boss is bugging us. We knew we had pressure medicine and it helped to calm us down. And so I just need to tell whoever's out there, you need to stop, or we're going to just put a corporate whammy on you because this is just getting out of hand. So you're messing with the food. Now you're messing with medicine. I think part of what I'm going to do is I'm going to lose weight naturally. I'm going to learn just to rest and catch my breath a little bit. And I'm going to get off of this medicine because I got to find some other ways to relax because I can't die trying to live. And I'm being somewhat facetious, but it's just crazy. Now medicine is being messed with. That is really, really crazy. But I'm very serious about this. I'm looking for some natural alternatives. And I know one of them is getting my behind out my house and walking and getting to the gym. But I just want to say, this is just really crazy. And so whoever is out there, just chill and just leave our food and our medicine alone. And for the folks who are supervising the Food and Drug Administration, I'm not saying it's happening up in there, but pay them people well so that it doesn't. Let them keep catching this, but pay the Food and Drug Administration people well so they can keep our food clean. Got that off my chest. Hey, I'm excited about the first few episodes of this new year. By now, if you're caught up and listening, you notice that recently I talked about things I'm looking forward to rather than doing resolutions, because resolutions almost sound as if I can mouth this, but we all know I'm not serious about it. I'm going to say this because I should say this. It's almost like, someone saying, my desire for, is world peace at a pageant, knowing that that's not really what they mean, but it's what you're supposed to say because you get better scores. So I don't want to just keep overplaying resolution, but I want to talk about something that I think will really help our lives. And so I've recently written a piece. I'm not going to read it all. You can find this either on my Facebook page by just searching for me on Rev Dr. Alex G. I'd love for you to follow me there if you're not or currently doing it, or you can find this on my website, which is alexg.com. Just click under blogs, and you'll see this one. It's called Virtually Impossible. And I'm really talking about how do we balance screen time versus FaceTime. This is not a bash against technology, because anyone who knows me, they know that I'm a technological junkie. I always have been. I love watching the kids on Stranger Things with their walkie-talkies and base stations, the headsets, because I was that kid that had all those toys. But I'm really talking about the importance of relationships, because what I'm noticing is the world does feel a little bit more distant. People from each other feel more distant. There's a lot more polarization. And when we're feeling cold and distant and disconnected, the proper response is not greater distance, but we've got to begin to lean towards each other. So when stuff is hard, you need people, and you don't need to hide from folks. And so I just want to read a couple of excerpts from what I wrote, and then just talk about it a little bit with you, because I want to give you some things to think about, because I want to talk about practical living things as well. And so I say here, and again, I'm not reading the whole thing, just a couple of pieces out of it. 2019, here I come. Too many really good people are sitting on the sidelines watching so many others who should really be sidelined. We view screens as windows into the lives of others, and we only participate in real change and real living voyeuristically. We view the world from our sofas. We pontificate in 140 characters or less. We repost and retweet instead of saying amen. And we merely like and have the little brown thumbs up and rarely love. You got to get out of where you are and get into the game. I notice so many brilliant people spending more time in this virtual reality than out in the true world where they can make change. These folks are writers, they're entrepreneurs, they're thought leaders, but they spend so much time in these social media networks that the true creativity is not coming to the forefront. And so I don't want to live life voyeuristically. And hey, look that word up. Look up voyeur. Yeah, Google it right now. Pause the podcast. Go look it up so you can understand what I'm saying. That was a pretty cool word. I get about 15 points for that one. But listen, you don't want to live life just through the lives of other people. You don't want to live vicariously. And so, you don't want to just watch the Kardashians or just watch somebody's beautiful pics from vacation when you should be planning yours. I mean, you can look at my pictures from Mexico, but you work hard like I do. Put some money aside, forego extra steak dinners or getting your nails done or something else that's costly. Put money aside. When I was a young kid, I grew up in Madison. My mom would take us to Wisconsin Dells. It's 45 minutes away. They just had cool attractions. They had a strong Native American theme. They had something else called the Ducks. It was a boat that was a truck and a boat. So you drive on cliffs, but then you get in the water and float down. Was that the Wisconsin River or Lake Delton? But it was beautiful. But it wasn't that expensive. But we got away. Hey, parents, do day trips. Go on Priceline or some line and find downtown hotels. Do a daycation where you and your family will go downstairs and swim and get room service or something like that. But come on, stop living through the lives of other people. You got your own life to live. And let me just tell you, all that glitters is not gold. So just because somebody is posting pictures of a beautiful sunset did not mean that they were not fighting and cussing somebody out all day long. So I'm saying, come on, just get off your sofas and don't just repost and retweet. Find out what can you do to do a better job of living. But I know people who just seem like they sit at home on their screens and they just look at other people's lives longingly without fully living their own. On page 2, I say, virtual is not always a virtue. That screen time is not the same as FaceTime. Now, my organization, my nonprofit, Nehemiah, just recently, and there'll be a link in this podcast if you don't know about some of the other work that I do. I lead a church called Fountain of Life. I lead a nonprofit that's called Nehemiah. So you can click on the links to find out more about this really important work that I'm doing in our community. But we recently received a really huge grant from the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health. And I was talking with a friend yesterday, and he said, and did I say a big grant? It's a huge grant. And this friend said, hey, did you see on Facebook? I said, congratulations. Well, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? If you finish a 3K race or a 5K walk, you go to my Facebook page and give me a thumbs up. Or if I learn to cook a cheesecake and I post a picture, which I hope I never do, you do a thumbs up. When you get $1 million grant, you don't go to someone's Facebook page and say, hey, good job. You call them. You got my phone number. We're friends. We know each other. We go back for years. We're in the same occupation. What's wrong with picking up the phone or even texting me? Let's say you can't call me, text me. But you go to my Facebook page to do a thumbs up on $1 million grant. Listen, virtual is not always a virtue. I think we feel that that's reality. So when I talked to the person, he said, hey, did you see that I told you congratulations? I said, no, I didn't see that. I'm not on Facebook like that. I post to Instagram, which posts to Facebook. I try to put up pictures of what I'm doing to inspire people, but no, I didn't see your comment. But he thought he had congratulated me because he said something on my Facebook page. Hopefully I'm not being overly sensitive here, but I'm just saying we think because we do a thumbs up or a like that it's the same as calling people. Listen, I think I've said this on previous shows. I certainly have said it from the pulpit. I don't want family texting me on my birthday. Pick up the phone and call me. I'm 55 years old. Call me. Listen, I'm a black man that made it to 55. Call and tell me congratulations. Tell me you did it. I haven't been to jail. I don't have children out of wedlock. My pressure is up today, but you know why? Call me and just say, hey, congratulations. But no, don't just text me or do a little thumbs up. If you know me, if you don't, if we're just virtual friends, then that is a virtual greeting. And I don't mind that. If I don't really know you, and you're following me, I appreciate the thumbs up. But if I know you, we got the same last name, the same daddy, we got the same blood in our veins, we go to the same church, y'all better call me. I'm writing about how people always have their phones in their hands. We wake up with phones in our hands. We go to the bathroom with phones in our hands. That's gross. That's why I don't like people to put their phones on my table, because I see people walk into the bathrooms with them. I leave mine on my dresser. I have a new phone, and if I take it in the bathroom, it's because I don't want the alarm to go off and wake my wife up. So I put it in the drawer. But I'm not sitting there holding it and dealing with it, because you're going to bring it out of there and put it up on my table. So if you're at my house and you put it on the table, you know why I'm going off. We text people who are sitting 6 feet away from us rather than speaking to them. We even drive with phones in hand. I got to admit, what I'm not bringing into this new year is this foolishness. I'm not going to kill myself or somebody else's family trying to text and drive. That is just dumb. And I know you all do it. I do it. I see people doing it on the highway all the time. Let's stop that. I occasionally see couples who sit in restaurants across from each other with phones in hand. I even see people on Sundays who worship with phones in their hand. It is not because they're reading the scripture, because I haven't given it yet. So you're not looking at my passage because I have not yet stated it. We have 3,000 Facebook friends, but we eat alone. We have 5,000 Twitter followers, but we claim that no one has our back. We follow trends, but what's trending in our lives is emptiness and fear. Listen, folks, I watch this. We get together in our family gatherings. All the young people come downstairs with, haven't washed their face yet, haven't brushed their teeth. My grandmother would have just hit you in the back of the head. You could not come out your bedroom and come down to the table without washing your face, brushing your teeth, and washing your hands. But these young people are just getting up, with this in their hand. Again, I love technology. I use it for a lot of stuff. But I just noticed that when you're in the company of others, it takes you away. You wouldn't sit in the middle of a family reunion on a phone call. And even if you're talking to a friend on the phone and someone's distracting you, like on a regular phone, like a house line, remember those? People would put their hands over the mouthpiece and say, hey, I'm on a phone call. Could you guys quiet it down? Because it's impractical, and it's inappropriate, and it's impolite to be in the midst of friends and on a phone conversation. But yet, because texting is silent, we will be in the midst of our elders and relatives who want to interact with us, and we're talking to someone up the street, around the corner, who we talk to all the time. Anyway, I see people sitting in church. I'm like, come on, you can't just sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just focus and sing and connect. Your Facebook can't wait. Your Twitter, Instagram can't wait. And you're not putting pictures up of the message because it hasn't started yet. And you're not putting up posts of the songs because you're not supposed to do that. And so let's just think, people. Let's just think about the importance of unplugging, just so you can recharge and regenerate. Hey, here's another section. And because our smartphones have become our virtual ventriloquist dummies, people ignorantly text and tweet and repost things in words we would never dare say to each other because, well, we didn't really say it. It was just merely a tweet, right? We got to ask ourselves, and although technology makes I didn't read the second part. I'm sorry. And although technology makes our memory shorter, It has a very long and very good memory. Technology, social media has a very good memory. Just ask famous people who years ago stupidly posted thoughts, which have come back to haunt them now as star athletes, entertainers, and professionals. Listen, this stuff that you're just putting up because you had a fight with somebody, you got mad at your parents, you feeling jacked up, and so you put stuff up there and you don't think to take it down because you're just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. Let me tell you something. This stuff is coming back on people. So just think about it, folks. Don't you have anybody you can talk to? Don't you have any friends you can talk to who don't repost stuff? When you put stuff, you know what, when we would share our thoughts, we would say to our friends, our buddies, hey, I got to just vent. I got to talk about my mama. I got to process this fight I just had with my wife, because it's not going anywhere. You get on Facebook talking about your wife, your mother, your daughter, your hard-headed kids, your crazy boss, and then you don't take it down. This stuff is out there. Don't you know real people you can talk to? Don't you know real people who can say, shh, here he comes, or shh, they're listening, or shh, just keep it cool for a minute. You putting this stuff out here for the whole world to see. And then you look stupefied because somebody pulls it up and uses your words against you. You chose to make Facebook your best friend. You chose to make Facebook your confidant. Come on, get up off that virtual stuff and meet some real people, because real people will tell you tripping. You the one that's wrong. Facebook doesn't tell you that. Because you only have people following you who are part of your echo chamber. So they're going to say, that's right, your boss is mean. That's right, your wife is jacked up. That's right, your kids are crazy. Get some real people that can give you a different perspective. Listen, if we spent the same amount of time with real people face to face as we do on our screen time, we would have real friends and not just virtual friends. Did y'all hear what I just said? If we spent the same amount of time with virtual people if we spent the same amount of time that we spend with virtual people, with real people, we can deepen relationships. We can change the world. We can lower gas prices. We can deal with gang violence. We can strengthen single moms. We can clear the air. We can deal with our stress. And so we can't keep walking around saying, I don't have any friends. I don't know anybody. I don't trust anybody. People are too competitive. You know what? Spend that time developing relationships, and I guarantee you'll appreciate it. In another part of this post, I said 2019, here I come. And then I start talking about things that I need more of in my life. I need more escapes in 2019. I need more walks with my wife. I need more talks with my daughter. I need more meals with my mother. I need more laughs with my sister. I need more guys trips with my friends. I need more trips with nieces and nephews. I need more unplugged beauty in my life that isn't virtual, but real. I need to be unplugged more often, unhinged less often, more engaged, less distracted, and more present. I need greater clarity, more fulfillment. I need realized destiny. I need re-engagement with old friends and availability to new ones. I love this piece because I just start thinking, we seem to not have enough time to do the things that are important to us. But yet, if you check, at least with iPhone users, we now get a report. I think it's a weekly report that shows us screen time, 6-7 hours, but we don't have time to go to the gym for a 45-minute walk. We don't have time to try a new recipe. You don't have time to call your uncle who's in the hospital. You don't have time to go sit with your mom and have a meal. You don't have a time to go watch your kid play soccer or practice soccer with your kid. You don't have time to learn a new instrument. What if you practice guitar for 6 hours a week? What if I just got this new pressure cooker, electric pressure cooker? I loved it. I cooked barbecue chicken last night. I snapped. But took 20 minutes. 6 hours of screen time, but 20 minutes. Now you got to season the chicken and stuff like that, but it cooked in 20 minutes. So we walk around talking about what we don't have time with. Being unplugged more often, unhinged less often. I realize that when I'm unplugged, I'm less likely to be unhinged. And so it's so easy to come home from a very stressful day at work. I have a stressful life, stressful work, but that's what walks are for. Or drives. I do a motorcycle ride, but my wife is so afraid that there are crazy drivers out there that I'll get hit or something. But a bike ride or something. How do we unplug so that we're less unhinged or unhinged less frequently? We've got the time. We've proven that we got the time. But how do we use it? And this is for your betterment. Again, this is not anti-technology. I read my news on technology. I'm going to give you some hints a little bit later about how to use it. So again, this is not about technology. I'm going to get all the technology I can, but it's going to be a tool. I am not going to be its slave. It's got to work for me, and I can't work for it. Right here, I state, I'm a technological junkie. Hence, I write with quite a bit of trepidation. Notwithstanding, the brightness of my future requires a focus and a lucidity that cannot necessarily be illuminated by the backlight of my iPhone 10. And so there are things I need to do. And I think what happens is my screen time becomes a virtual distraction. It used to be television back in the days. It's gaming. I still remember Atari 2600, 5200. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But we find these things, and I get it. We need some mind-numbing time because the pressures of life, I really, really get it. But we can't let it become a virtual distraction that we don't really focus on the things that really give us life. I've got a book in me. I've got some seminars in me. I've got an Urban Impact Institute that will be practical and virtual that's in me. Doing those things will bring me great satisfaction and a great peace of mind. But I can't become so inebriated on my virtual fixation that I don't have enough time to work on those hobbies that are really, really great. I want to master the grill. I want to master a smoker. I want to master that pressure cooker. Man, they look a lot different than they did when I was a kid. I remember how my mom used to cook greens on it. It looks really different, but that sucker works. I want to master these things because they're relaxing and I'm producing something. But I can't let my fixation with technology or my smartphone or my screen, let me just say it that way, my screen, that it just numbs me so that I can't live out things that are really important to me. I feel that sometimes my screen time, or all too often my screen time, is procrastination made easy. It's just so easy to pick it up. And just next thing you know, it's like an hour or so. And I look up and time is gone when there are one or two things I could have done that would have been really enjoyable. Another section says, if virtual reality is solely a mere escape from reality, then it is no longer virtual reality, but an actual death of creativity. And so, yeah, I've got too much creativity in me. There are too many ideas, too many things that are doable. I don't mean crazy things like climb Mount Everest, which I would love to do. But yeah, I can't get in that kind of shape. So I'm not talking about those kinds of goals that are not realistic. The things that are in my heart are things that I can do. There are things I want to write. There are things I want to teach. There's consulting that I want to do. There's coaching of governmental leaders, community leaders, business leaders. There's too many things I want to do just to be so tied up in someone else's Instagram post that I don't live my own life. And so I just, death of creativity. Don't let your creativity be choked out. Don't let it be choked out. Do something with it. Hey, and the last thing I put on here was this PS. It says, and anyone who continues to send me those, let's keep it going by forwarding this to 10 other people, you will get deleted to virtual hell immediately. And so if you're listening to this, first of all, I don't know what you do for a living if you got time to send all of these things. I barely have time to get through my work emails. And there are some days I really don't get through my work emails. But I don't know how working people have enough time to send people crap to pass along to 10 other people. You're a grown man. Why do you want me to send a heart around? You're a grown woman. Why do you want me to send around this cute little fuzzy thing? Come on, y'all, get to work. Process some more insurance claims and work on my tax returns and get some more orders in for aluminum siding, whatever you do. But I'm sure your boss, I'm an employer. We do not pay people to be sending this crap around on Facebook. So anyone who continues to send me those, keep it going. Oh, we're going to keep it going. But it won't be on my Facebook page. I'm deleting you. So I'm just giving you a fair warning because I just don't need that in my life. So I just sort of ranted on this a little bit. So what are my suggestions? I do not like to vent and not offer suggestions. And so a couple of things. One, in terms of how do you balance out screen time versus FaceTime? I understand work-related screen time makes sense. So I'm not about to bash you on that. I get that. But also put up good boundaries. Put up really good boundaries. Sometimes you'll do things on the evenings and weekends that your boss has not asked you to do. And so you've got to make sure that work is not taking you away from family. Batch your emails and your text messages. For example, I wake up before the rest of the family does. I'm an early riser, and I like to read news on an app. I like to find out what's going on in the world. It keeps me in touch, and I can do a quick read of that. But I do that before anybody gets up. So really before I get up out of bed, I'll just take 5 or 10 minutes just to take a look at what the top news items are. So at least I know what's going on. Some of those I'll repost. Some of them I'll put on Twitter. If I've got friends who have podcasts, for example, my sister is developing a new podcast, I'll forward her links to stories that I'm reading that I think would be great material for her show. But you can't just constantly be reading email. Do it in the morning, do it during a morning break, over lunch. But, unless you have a crazy kind of job that requires you to constantly be on, because I'm not going to try to mess with that. But try to batch it so that you're not sitting with people who want to look into your eyes. They want to see your smile, so that you're not doing it when you're with them. Secondly, don't be a slave to the ringer. I find myself, and I find people doing this, and I've done it enough. The phone will ring. I'll be in a meeting, and I'll pick up and I'll say, "Hey, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you right back?" Like, "Oh yeah, sure. Isn't that what voicemail is for? I mean, isn't voicemail set up so that I don't have to answer and tell you I'm in a meeting? Shouldn't I just record a message that says, 'Hi, this is Alex. I'm in a meeting right now and I can't take your call. I'm so sorry. Please leave me a detailed message with your name, date, time.'" That's what that's for. Do you know how many people I call and they pick up in meetings and say, "Hey, dude, let me hit you up"? And smartphones, at least my iPhone, allow you to have these preset messages that you could just click and it'll just say, "Hey, I'm in a meeting." Stop picking up the phone when you're in meetings, telling people you're in meetings. When it goes to voicemail, that's where we're assuming you are. Next point. When you're around friends and relatives, turn that thing off, because they want to spend time with you. And you may think that they're not noticing. That's what's really crazy. People notice when you're not looking them in the eye. It's just like when you pick your nose, you think no one's really looking. They are. And when you look at it, they are. And when you scratch in odd places, they're looking. Stop thinking that people don't know this. My mom has Alzheimer's, and I went by to visit her a bit ago. This is before she moved into the memory care facility that she's in. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to sit here with mom, I want to be with her. She's not really tracking. And sometimes, like she doesn't repeat things over and over, but sometimes she'll say a string of phrases and the words are intelligible. I mean, they're words, but the way she puts it together is not. I think in the field they call it full word salad, but she'll just say a string of things that don't really make sense. So one day she was just kind of doing that, and I'm just scrolling down my screen, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you." I turned my phone off and I said, "Well, I couldn't call myself an SOB because my mama's sitting right there, so that would be insulting her if I called myself that. But what kind of fool am I? My mom has been diagnosed with something that you die from. It's not just a memory disease. You actually die from it because your body shuts down. I've got a full-time job, a couple of them. I've got a window of time with her. I'm sitting there reading somebody's recipes. I'm sitting there doing thumbs up or hashtag amen on something. But my mom, who has Alzheimer's dementia, just looks at me while I'm typing and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't mean to disturb you." I put that sucker away and I just said, this, what am I thinking? Let me tell you something. If your mother doesn't have dementia, she sees you on that phone. Your wife doesn't have it, she sees you. Your husband, they see. My mama has dementia and she saw me on that phone. Your boss sees you. Your children see you. Your coworkers see you. Your grandmother sees you. Listen, if you're going to go visit your grandmother at a nursing home or a hospital and you can't stay off your phone, then just don't go up there, because you look and feel like you're present, but you really weren't. You wouldn't go into someone's hospital room and stand there for the whole 20 minutes, half hour on the phone talking, but yet we would stand there tweeting because we think we're not really talking. We are just as engaged, and you are, because I have been playing with my life and the lives of other people's children by texting while I've been driving, and I look up and I've traveled a mile and didn't know how I got to where I was going. I don't miss exits because I sort of have this memory where I kind of know where I'm going, but I have looked up and I've thought, how did I get west of Mineral Point Road? How did I do this? You're not focused, and people know, and that's how people wrap stuff around trees and light poles and stuff like this. It makes me even want to cry thinking about this. My mother thought she was imposing on me and my time when I was supposedly visiting her. You all stop that stuff, because social media will always be here. People won't. People will not always be here. And make some time and be present. Leave that stuff in the car. I do take my phone in to visit my mom because I like to take pictures when I'm in there. But I'm so convicted that I cut that stuff back like 90%. If work allows, I know work is really crazy. Stay off the work screen, like when you're at meals or over weekends or on your days off, or even during family time in the evening. Because one, you need to recharge. And if you're constantly plugged, like when your phone jams up or your laptop, what's the first thing they tell you to do on the tech line? Have you rebooted your computer? Have you restarted your phone? When we unplug, when we rest, when we exercise, when we sleep, we reboot our bodies. And when we don't reboot, which means that little color wheel is spinning. It's why nobody wants to be around you. It's why you got that extra weight on you. It's why you're irritable. It's why you go to dinner by yourself. It's why people are standing away from you, because you got that little color wheel going right in the middle of your forehead. It's just going, because you have not rebooted. Restart that thing. Unplug. This is so important, because let me tell you something, particularly if you're like in middle management, if it's okay for you to read emails on weekends and evenings and all this stuff, then it's going to seem okay for you to send them as well. So people who do this stuff on weekends are expecting you to read it. I just tell people on Monday mornings, what, you said something over the weekend? I got a wife. I got a daughter. I got a mama. I got things to do. I'm not at home over the weekend reading work emails. That's what I do. That's what I do during the week. But I don't come home to read emails. And so stop that expectation. If you're managers and you're sending your folks work over the weekend, particularly if it's because you have not done your work during the week, leave them people alone. They got a family. Let me tell you something. If your employees have a jacked up life at home, they're going to bring that jack to your office. Let them have some family time, because I bet you they need it. And not because things are bad, but because we don't want things to get bad. People give a lot of themselves. And can I tell you something else? Can I just keep it real? Can Dr. G just diagnose something? If you did more of your work during the week, rather than sending me these posts that I need to send to 10 other people for good luck, you'd have time to do your work. So stop tweeting and texting and looking at recipes and all that kind of stuff. Do your work. Then you don't have to go home and read emails on weekends. Now, I'm a writer. I'm a creative. And so I can't write. I can't prepare sermons or speeches during the day, because I'm an extrovert and I want to know, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing here? Why is there cake in the office? Where are you going? You want to grab lunch? I'm too jazzed by the people that are around me. So sometimes I have to wake up really early in the morning to write. I do a lot of it late at night. So if the family's in bed by, say, 11:30, particularly if I've taken a nap earlier that day, I can stay up a couple hours later. I'll do things. I'll write, maybe even follow up on emails. But it's when people are asleep. I don't make that a regular thing, because it can just be really overtaxing. But I don't want to have my face in a screen when my daughter's growing up. I mean, she's 22. She's just graduated and she's got a job and she's applying to grad school. Life's going on. As I get closer to retirement age, my wife and I are going to be traveling. My daughter's going to be having her own family, sometime soon. And we're not going to sit at home every night and binge watch Stranger Things like we did this week. So look into people's faces now. Again, this is not anti-technology, but it's pro-relationship, pro-energy, and it's pro-love. We don't get nights back. I only get Thursday night, January 3rd, once a year, and January 3rd, 2019, once in a lifetime. And so just ask yourself, what's important? What really feeds you? And at the end of life and your time, are you going to really wish that you posted more, liked more, tweeted more, or will you long for, or will you wish that you just spent more time and had more meaningful conversations? Listen, I don't want to have a regret. I want to just have one regret. That's sort of, let me back up and say it this way. I want to have one major regret when my mom does pass away, that she passed away and that she's not here. But you know what? My mom still makes a lot of sense. And there's stuff that she says that gives me a lot to think about. There's just too much life to be living, folks. And you've been created for something great. Don't devalue who you are and what you have to bring to the world. Find a club, volunteer someplace, invite friends over, get to know your neighbors, do a cookout, go online and find a meetup. And I don't mean dating, but do that too. But do something that really involves some interaction. You will need technology. It is a good reprieve. Put a time on it. For 45 minutes, I'm going to sit at home after people are just sort of chilling, and I'm just going to kind of scroll and do things. But, my family has sort of this saying that if we're having family time and we're talking, we're at the table, we're in front of television, one of us is on the phone, we will ask this sort of rhetorical question: are you with us? Are you with us? And so I want to ask you, are you with us? Would your children say you're with us, that you're with them? Would your spouse say that you're with them? Would your boss say that? Take a look at it. Life is precious. Life is good. Yes, stuff is crazy and weird, but we don't make the world better by retreating from it. We engage it. So 2019 is going to be powerful. I have already decided, and I'm going to give myself more to it. And I want to have more face time than screen time, because I am energized by relationships, and I am strengthened in community, and I become who I am in the presence of great people who love me and know me and honor me without judgment. And I can't necessarily say that that's what social media promotes. So it's been really great being with you. We've got so many exciting things that we're going to do and talk about this year, and I'm so glad that you're a part of it. Our partner, our Black Like Me podcast followers and listeners are growing. I'm really excited about that. I'm beginning to blog more. If you don't get my blogs regularly, if you go to alexg.com, you can do a number of things there. One, you can find out about my Nehemiah work, find out about my Fountain of Life work. You can find out about really social innovation projects that I'm involved in, from incarceration to leadership development, that you can be a part of, that you can support and be helpful with. You can sign up to get a regular, to get my newsletter. And my website sends out a weekly notice saying, here is what Alex G posted. Here's his new podcast. Here's a new blog. And it will send you links to all of those so that you never miss anything. If you're just listening to Black Like Me, but you've never subscribed, that number is important to me, and it's important to this process. So please, whatever platform you're using, just go and make sure you subscribe. And please, please, please tell your friends, so that when you hear an episode, you can, let them know that you think this is something they can listen to. But tweet it out. You can actually tweet it. Ask someone to show you how to do it. But you can tweet an episode and say, hey, this really challenged me. Or, hey, you got to listen to these black icebreakers. Or, hey, look at what white people are doing. You can repost it. But don't just consume it yourself. Share it with others, because I would really like to reach more people this year. So this has been a great episode. As I said, this is going to be a great year, and we're going to have some great experiences together. So thank you for making this possible. Thank you for caring. Thank you for listening. This has been another great episode of Black Like Me with Dr. Alex G.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. You can find out more about Dr. Alex G's amazing work at www.alexg.com. Black Like Me is sponsored by the generosity of the Human Family Unity Foundation.